right, buddy. It's Sunday. NFL's back. Let's do this.
Game day.
All right. You got the seats.
Seats are covered, man.
You got the cold ones.
I got some cold ones.
You got good views.
Man, the view is going to be amazing. Are you ready to talk data with me today, man?
I'm ready to talk data. Absolutely. It's a beautiful day to talk about data.
Okay. Well, this is a special event. I stopped, I got everything you need, but you remember the part of the deal, man. You get lunch.
I got you covered, but there's no Raiders fans, right?
I don't know. I know you're big on the Panthers and not the Raiders. I can't make guarantees, but...
All right, well, we'll see.
All right, well, we're going to talk data. I got a couple of questions for you about your messaging, COVID. You guys have started some new awesome virtual brands. You ready to talk to me
I'm
today?
ready. It's been a year since the last signals and so much has happened.
Well, good news. We are here, man. We're at our destination. This looks familiar, huh?
Just like home.
All right, I'll take care of the gear. You get the food, man.
On it.
Okay. Hey guys, Tim Glom here for Cheetah Digital. I'm extremely excited about this session because I am tailgating at an Outback Steakhouse with Michael Stutts of Bloomin Brands. Thanks for connecting.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Happy to be here.
I see that you're wearing your team. I got my Broncos colors, my orange and blue.
Always have to represent, even when we can't sit in the stadium. At least we can tailgate at the Outback Steakhouse.
Yeah, socially distanced while watching. Oh, sorry, the Raiders just scored on you.
That was terrible timing, but yeah.
Really sorry about that.
We'll come back.
Okay.
Not worried about it.
Well, today we're going to talk about data engagement in a number of different ways. We know that you guys are doing some amazing things. We did a great Thinking Caps podcast with us earlier when COVID hit. Amazing. Talk about digital transformation, keeping 90,000 employees, working during the beginnings of COVID. Go check that out. But today, let's talk about data. And I'm going to open with a question for you. What have you learned in 2020 that was absolutely completely off the wall compared to previous years?
Well, the biggest thing about 2020 compared to previous years is that you can't compare 2020 to previous years.
Fair.
So what's been challenging is benchmarking the business, and also just it's not so much a challenge as it is an exciting thing. Yeah. We can totally change the playbook.
So you can take chances.
You can take chances.
You're not going, hey, last year we did this, so let's
Exactly.
increase it by 10%. You can just clean sheet of paper.
Clean sheet of paper, and in the last 6 months, both from necessity and opportunity, we've been able to capture a lot of that. So on the necessity side, we've seen a tripling of our off-premises business. We've seen huge growth in engagement with our digital platforms. And we know that a lot of these customers are not going to go away. We know that these are people who have learned a new behavior. And as I've said a million times before, once you learn how to do something on your phone and without leaving your couch, rarely do you go back and say, you know what, I'd rather this be a bigger hassle. So we have now found this all new audience and a whole new way that customers are using our brands, and it's cutting across demographics. It's been really exciting to see. Short of course, the physical and emotional toll that COVID has taken on the world, from a company perspective, it's really taught us how to be a faster, more nimble company.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, about the people and changing their behaviors. Are there new metrics? Are there new kind of segments? Are there new data points that you're using to understand people's behavior and how to then reach back out to them?
Yeah, segmentation has taken this evolution, at least within our company, of going from age, income, where you are,
typical
that kind of thing, typical
yep.
segmentation, to needs-based segmentation, which is a much more reasonable way of predicting if somebody is going to engage with your brand and what you should do as a brand to bring in that customer. Now, we have yet another segmentation that's cutting across the needs and the demos, which is COVID related. And let's just move past COVID for a second, because that will be over at some point.
Sure.
But customers now have a different expectation of convenience, of cleanliness, of multi-channel behaviors. So we have reacted accordingly.
Sure.
And we've built out resources to really capture that. And what's great with the data is that you can see very clearly from consumer behavior patterns where they fall in line on this expectation of convenience, cleanliness, their comfort level going into a restaurant. you don't have to guess whether someone doesn't want to go back to a dining room if they haven't been back to a dining room. So we're able to take that information and communicate with our customers accordingly. We know that there's some people who will never go back into a dining room.
Sure.
We know there's some people who can't wait to get back into a dining room. But better yet, we know there's people who will do both in the future. And those are the most valuable customers for us, the ones that use multiple channels.
Got it. So people's behaviors have shifted. You know, I'm assuming older people, we've talked about this in the Thinking Caps podcast, some slightly older customers are doing things that they never did before.
That was
able to...
Honestly, one of the most, sorry to interrupt, one of the most exciting things we saw was that when you see this growth in digital interaction, you assume that this is going to be younger people, and it really was, you know, our parents.
Yeah, they were forced to now, you know,
right.
figure out how to get curbside or delivery on a device that, you know, they usually just would text their grandkids.
No, that's right.
So let's talk a little bit about the messaging, because Cheetah Digital helps you analyze all of that data, that consumer data, segment, and then send the right messages out to them. But what are you doing creatively? You know, I know we talked before about machine learning. How is that playing into your messaging strategy?
Yet another thing that's been exciting in the last 6 months is that we're trying new ways of messaging, and we're trying new creative and new tactics to learn which creative is most effective. So we've developed numerous versions of different themes. So call it 3 themes with 10 different looks and feels, different messages, and we put them through machine learning.
Yep.
And we figured out which ones drove the most engagement, whether it was just clicks and looks all the way through to orders. And we can take that information and apply it to our messaging more broadly and continue, of course, to do the machine learning, but also to say, okay, we know that this message and this creative with this type of photography, this type of value message is going to be effective with these types of people. And so taking that next step on not only just having the audiences to segment some slight differences, now we can have completely different creative and messaging going to completely different groups.
So this is getting a little closer to personalization and message optimization, creative optimization. Is this difficult to pull off for your team once you have the data and can analyze it? Or like, are you loading up a ton of new creative, you know, needs, or is this pretty easy to manage?
It's not so much easy as it is a muscle that we are learning and that we have
Sure.
made huge strides on. And part of that is having a platform like Cheetah that enables us to do this. And just to be frank, one of the more interesting sentiments that's come out of our organization lately is this idea that we're finally using Cheetah to its full extent. We've had this capability for so long, but now that we're finding new ways to communicate with our customers and we're taking some different tactics and different risks with our messaging and our marketing, now we're finally activating it. And so I recently saw some verbatim feedback from our teams saying we are finally using Cheetah. So that's been great to see.
Great. Well, you were using it very effectively before, and it's only getting better, I guess.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right. How about interactivity and collecting personal data or behavioral data from people? Can you give us an example of how you might be collecting data from a dine-in or a curbside, and then what you're using that in a messaging capacity?
Yeah, so the simplest version is knowing how customers are using us, whether it's day part, whether it's going to multiple restaurants, whether it's dine-in, carry-out, you name it. We're able to detect, okay, this profile of customer, they're gonna expect a message in this cadence versus the old way of doing it, which was, all right, we took in a delivery order, and now in X number of days, we're gonna send them a reminder message, and then a few days after that, here it comes. It's this automated sequence. We had to rethink all of that. And that's what we're still, I wouldn't say it's perfect, but we're still rethinking what is the right exact cadence to re-engage the customer, bring them back in, and really to encourage them to use us the way that is most effective for them and most favorable for them. A mistake that we've seen other companies make in other industries is trying to force a customer into a channel.
Sure.
And our belief is that whether you want to order on our app, whether you want to walk into our restaurant, whether you want to use Uber Eats or DoorDash, that we're here for you. Yeah. And that's something that we feel very passionately about and that we'll continue to do. But we also want to learn as much as we can from all of this so that we can encourage people to keep doing that.
Sure. Well, in 2020, you guys are a brand that will take chances, that will try new things, and you created a virtual brand.
We did.
Can you give us the short story on what that virtual brand is, how it works?
Do you like chicken tenders?
I love chicken tenders. In fact, I can hear the Outback Steakhouse grills going on in the background here. I'm getting really hungry. And
Yes.
you said you'd buy lunch. I brought the tailgating gear,
Yes.
so we're going to get to that. But I
Yes.
love chicken tenders.
Okay, well, then you will love the Tender Shack, which is a completely virtual brand that exists only in the digital realm. We moved very quickly in creating a brand that would leverage our existing assets, but also give customers something a little different than what they would get today from any of our brands. Something that we're really proud of, hand-cut, hand-breaded, crafted sauces, things that you're not getting from a traditional QSR, but at a traditional QSR, fast casual kind of price. We're operating it out of our existing kitchens using existing labor. There is no physical embodiment of the Tender Shack. But what we're learning already in an upfront test is that there is something there. Customers are responding to it. Just like anything else, we're learning that there's different restaurants that perform differently depending on the neighborhood that they're in. But once again, we have proven America loves handheld chicken products. And it's been very fun to do. It's the fastest project I've ever seen happen within our walls, and it's exciting.
So you launched that, you said, in just a handful of days. I mean, talk about 2020 is the year of digital acceleration.
That's
I don't
right.
care what brand, what industry you were in, you were forced to accelerate your digital transformation in some way, and you created a virtual brand in a matter of months, not even?
It was 49 days, and the way that we did it, I'd say that the key metrics or the key tactics were take a small group of people that is working on the project in a pod, bring in other parties as needed, and make progress over perfection, and understand that you can test and learn. It doesn't need to be exactly right on day one, and just be practical. And this extends beyond virtual brands. It extends into how we use your platform. It extends into testing and learning on every type of digital communication that we can. In the old days, you make a commercial. Well, that was your commercial, and the best you could do was edit it and chop it. Now you can put out 100 different versions of creative.
Yeah.
So the virtual brand, I think, is an embodiment of what the future holds for us and what the last 6 months has done to us as a company and made us more effective, made us more efficient, taken what would have been 6 months and analysis paralysis and turned it into quick hallway conversations and quick decisions.
Well, you guys are obviously a nimble team. You make quick decisions. I'd love to know, how has the Cheetah platform helped you understand that data, either visually or analytics, mentality? Is that where you can kind of slice and dice and activate these segments that you're learning about?
It is, and I think it helps to have a hypothesis-driven approach to it and say, how big would an audience be of people who fit parameter X, Y, Z? And is it going to be meaningful to try to do a message like this, you name it?
Yep.
And that's been a great way of contextualizing what is the opportunity for a certain move, a certain marketing initiative. But we only see more opportunity coming out of this. We've done some really exciting work with all of our brands, but Outback Steakhouse in particular. We're rolling out a new menu. We just recently rolled it out. Part of that rollout has been to engage our customers and the people who love Outback through the Cheetah platform, and it's been very successful.
Yeah.
And there's more to come there.
And can you share a stat? We were talking a little bit before we started this. You found that one of your segments, you don't have to name which, but through the platform, you're able to actually identify these new behaviors, right? And some have a 7-8 times, higher revenue stream.
The ones that are using multiple channels.
Got it.
The ones that dine in the restaurant and use delivery, we've seen in the past them to be about 8 times more valuable.
Wow.
than our single channel customer. That's why I say over and over again, building out a multi-channel customer is so critical, but you don't build a multi-channel customer by saying, you must use this channel and just keep forcing a message down. Instead, you give them a great experience in whatever channel they are using, but introduce them to the option that you could use delivery, you could use carryout, or you could dine in the restaurant if you're only using the other two. So it's all about giving the customer what they want, where they want, and just enabling it.
And that also applies to messaging downstream, right? Back to them. So making sure that they're able to choose, or you're giving them recommendations that make their next experience, whether it's dine-in, curbside, or delivery, even better. So hence that creative and matching the right creative and using machine learning.
That's right.
I mean, you guys have the whole engine.
And if you compared us to a year ago when I was standing on stage at Signals, the progress that this team has made, I couldn't be prouder of them. And the growth we've had as a company and as a set of resources and what we're doing today versus a year ago, it's awesome. And a year from now, when hopefully I'm invited back and we're all together in one room somewhere, we'll talk about it even more.
Yeah.
But we're at a transformational moment in the company, and Cheetah's been an absolutely critical partner in that. And working with your teams and how you understand our business and our objectives has been just wonderful.
Yeah, let me ask you that. I'm on the content team. I get to sit in front of these cameras and go tailgating, ride roller coaster, and jump out of airplanes. I don't use the product that much, but how is it to work with the Cheetah team from a high level down to implementation for someone who's might be on the fence saying, yeah, I need to find a new partner, a new engine. How is it to work with the Cheetah team?
I'll define it in 3 ways why it's a positive experience. Number one is that you take the time to understand what the needs are, and you understand what the complications are, and you frame it not as a journey from function A, B, C, D to function E, F, G, H. It's you want to get from transactional to emotional engagement, and that's the journey that we're on. So there's number one. Number two, the way that Cheetah engages people all the way through the organization and gives a sense of we're in this with you. Yep. And it's not going to be perfect, but we're here together, and we're holding hands and jumping off the cliff. Number three, and this doesn't apply so much right now as it did when we could all be together, but I define a good partner relationship as one when they come to town or they invite my team and I to do something that I don't dread going. And sometimes you do. And with your team, it's one that I've always been excited to spend time with. It's a smart, fun, engaging group that tells us new things, and we're learning together, and just couldn't be happier with working with your team.
Good. Well, we appreciate that, and we appreciate you coming here. Okay, I have one more question for you, and this one is advice for people watching. I know a lot of marketers are watching. They're not sure how deep they need to go. Personalization, automation, machine learning, et cetera. And Tommy Lee is watching, by the way. He skipped the big meeting to watch your
Hopefully
session.
you've learned something, Tommy.
Yeah. So what advice would you have for them about jumping off that ledge, and what should their plan focus on from step one?
Yeah, I think it's easy to get lost in the technology and the functionality and the what could go wrong, but start with an end state vision of this is where we want to be. We want to be able to efficiently and effectively communicate with our customers. We want to give them new forms of engagement, and ultimately, we want this to be something that we are confident is growing our business. So just starting there and working backwards and saying, okay, in the current state, we could be limited forever. It may be a risk and it may be a complex process, but we can get to a different point if we re-platform. Go into it eyes wide open, knowing that it will not be a perfect rollout. It just won't. But pick the right partner that's going to be in it with you.
Cool.
And it's going to be all good.
Right. Cool. Thanks for having us out here. But I lied. I have one more question. I brought all the tailgating gear as promised. You know, TV, your Panthers and everything. When is lunch, man? You were supposed to bring lunch.
You know what?
Tailgating.
It's right about now. I'm going to take care of it right now.
Okay. I guess I just sit and wait.
All right. Food's here.
All right, man. Kept your end of the bargain. I love it. What do we got?
All right. We got wings. We got tenders. We got Bloomin' Onion.
Bloomin' Onion. I call that
Aussie cheese fries. Boom.
Anybody getting hungry out there? Hey, I hate to do this to you, but do you think there's enough for 3 of us?
Probably so.
I got a great Raiders fan that's with me who I want to invite in to eat.
Oh, no.
Is that all right with you?
Well,
I think the Raiders are winning here.
That's okay. That's okay. We welcome all.
I brought John Siegel from Cheetah Digital to enjoy and test it out. I gotta say, man, I'll tailgate with you any day.
Signals 20, the content series for marketing rock stars.